Ullman reporting for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto with the world-renowned photographer Rafael Goldchain. How does it feel to have the film made about you and your work at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival?
Well, you know, it was kind of a natural thing. I mean, it was bound to happen. Sooner or later, somebody was going to discover that I'm great, and they were going to want to do a film about me. That was in jest. You know, it's been a process. At times, it's been a great source of joy and amusement and meaningful challenge, artistic challenge, personal challenge, a challenge to my family, because everyone in my family is involved in the film, and a great opportunity to work with a great team of people. Most of them are my colleagues in the team. We all teach at Sheridan, and Sheridan is such a hotbed of creative people that this team came together and just worked together so well. And I think that was the greatest challenge for me and the greatest pleasure for me, was to rise to their expectations and at the same time to enjoy their amazing work.
How did Vlad approach you, and then what was the process like working with him?
Vlad and I have known each other for a long time. Vlad is also a photographer, and so we share that. And we've become friends over the years. There's many things that are parallel in our lives. We're both exiles from a distant country. Both countries underwent traumatic events. He was actually involved, I wasn't. I was involved by extension, perhaps by my absence. But anyway, we're both exiles. We're both parents to younger children, in other words, older parents to younger children. And there's a lot of things that are common. And sooner or later, you know, Vlad found out about the work that I was doing and thought that this would be good material for a film. A film that reflects aspects of my life, but also reflects aspects of his life by implication, by reflection.
And tell me a little bit about the themes in your photography and why you choose the subject matter that you do.
I assume you're talking about I Am My Family, my self-portraits. You know, it's an artistic project. Most people would like to think of it as a biographical thing, and you know, but really, my challenge, my interest has been to develop an artistic practice that was meaningful for me, and that involved all aspects, from the craft, from the making of the photographs, the lighting, the photography, the joy of making beautiful images, the joy of making beautiful portraits, learning from historical styles, learning from anonymous photographers from the 1920s and 1930s. How did they do this? Can I do this again? Can I use myself as a model to create a photograph that looks like that? Generally not a big challenge, but for me, it was meaningful to do that. And then the second artistic challenge was to work out of an imaginative space that involved memory and history, which seemed to be weighing on me more as I was working on this project. I was bringing up a young child. I was wanting to give this child a kind of identity from a father that didn't grow up in Canada, so kind of a Canadian identity was not naturalized for him. His mother's Irish, didn't grow up in Canada either. He's the first Canadian in our family. So it was important to give him this sense of where it all came from. And so history and memory came up often. And as an artistic process then, it also popped up as an important way of producing images. And at the time, I had also made a decision not to work outside in the world, but to work in the studio. And portraiture was something that I love. And so I decided it all comes together. The stars are aligned. I'm going to be my subject. I'm going to work from my memory. I'm going to create personae that will be in part invented and in part researched.
And what initially inspired you to become a photographer?
Oh God, what inspires anybody to become a photographer? You know, the camera finds its way into our hands when we're tiny, and from that moment on we keep on making photographs. And these days, gosh, I mean, how young are you when you get a cell phone that has a camera in your hands, right? Younger and younger. So for me, it was my father. He was an avid photographer, and I watched him forever making pictures. First, I was the subject, the unwilling, reluctant, mugging subject of pictures, and eventually I was fascinated by the technology and by the activity, and by the creativity of it all. And at some point, an art teacher in high school said, "You know, you can't draw and you can't paint and you can't sculpt. Too bad, but you can photograph."
And what types of pictures do you hope to take in the future?
That's a hard question to answer. You know, the kinds of pictures that I would be making in the future result from a process where one decision leads to another. Currently, I'm photographing natural subject matter in the landscape, and I'm working with a few design elements, and you know, that's what I'm working with at the moment. I don't want to over-intellectualize it. I'm enjoying the process of being outside, and I'm enjoying the process of photographing nature for the first time, because I never have, really, seriously. So it's a new thing for me.
And how did it feel to be in front of the camera as a subject in the documentary as opposed to behind?
Well, you know, the answer can be pretty predictable. You know, I'm more comfortable behind it than in front of it, especially with a still camera. Having been behind the camera so long, one would think that I would be fairly competent in front of it, knowing camera angles and so on and so forth, and that certainly informed me. But I had a fantastic cinematographer, Michael Savoy, who's just a wonderful camera person, and you'll see it in the film. The film is beautiful. Yet, I was often uncomfortable because I'm really not a trained actor. The best bits, I think, came when my son and I, or me by myself, were, you know, going about our business, and he was rolling the camera, and we really didn't know that that was happening. Or when the action that we were expected to perform, walking into a space and do something, there's a scene that's really beautiful in the film where we walk into an ancient, darkened synagogue that's now almost like an archaeological site in Poland, and there was no lighting in there at all. It smelled like an archaeological excavation, and we had this LED light in my hand, and I was illuminating all of these murals, partly lost and fragmented murals, and carvings on the wall. And my son and I were walking around completely absorbed in that activity, and the camera was rolling the whole time, and that was wonderful.
And what makes the Toronto Jewish Film Festival a perfect arena for your film?
I think the issues that the film raises in terms of how my work, to some degree, is informed by Jewish history and memory, is really the best kind of forum for this film, and the audience for this festival, I'm hoping, will be an audience that will really appreciate aspects of the film, if not the whole thing. I'm really tickled pink. I'm proud that this film is part of the Toronto Jewish Film Festival, and I'm really happy that I'm involved in it.
And where's the best place to find out more information on you and on Beautifully Broken online?
Certainly the Toronto Jewish Film Festival site has a page on the film. The TVO Docs has a page on the film as well, and more pages are coming up as people blog and people start publishing information about the film. Those are the two main pages, and then if you just Google my name, you'll come up with a lot of information about my book, I Am My Family, and previous work that I've also done. There's a website called ccca.ca, which is the Canadian art database, and there's quite a few pages and previous work of mine published there.
Thank you so much, Raphael. Congratulations and best of luck at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival.
Thank you very much.
I'm Katie Ullman reporting for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto.